I'm Shauna from Family Travel Fever, and this is part of our series on renting an RV for your vacation. I'm teaching you all about the things that you need to do and to know to rent and then to plan your vacation. In this video, I'll be talking about the key questions that you need to ask before you sign any contracts or drive away with a rented RV. There are some really important questions that could cost you a lot of money, time, and it could be very uncomfortable or even ruin your trip if you don't need these things. So this is a list of these questions. I have this also on the blog at familytravelfever.com. I will give you a link below. And if you are renting a travel trailer or a fifth wheel, which is towable, there are more questions to ask, which will be in a separate video. So look for our questions for travel trailers and fifth wheels in a different video. This is all the things you need to know in general for RVs. So let's get started with the first question. When you contact someone or a company to rent an RV, what is the first thing you're going to ask? Well, I would ask, do you have any coupons or discounts? That would be my most important question first when you contact them or look at the site to see if there are any discounts or coupons that could make your vacation considerably cheaper. I have a separate video on all the hacks that I know to reduce the cost of your RV vacation for your RV rental cost by 50 to 95%. Check that out. You're going to like it. Otherwise, that is my first tip. I actually found our very first the first time we rented a motorhome was on a 50% discount. They were having a seasonal discount, and I asked, and they told me about the discount. That's the only way I found it, is by asking. We rent out this travel trailer that you see on RV Share and Outdoorsy, and as part of that network, we can invite people and give them a $50 coupon for their first rental. So it's always worth to ask. Now, when you start looking into the rental itself, let's get into the other questions. The question to ask is, how much is the deposit and when is it returned? In general, the deposit on an rental RV, will be $500 to $1,000. If the RV is more expensive, the owner or the company might want to hold more as a deposit on their rig because it costs more money. When you get back, those are for damages and cleaning or whatever it is saved for. And depending on the company, the deposit is returned at different times. We actually, like I said, rent on two platforms, on RV Share and Outdoorsy, and those deposits are actually returned differently on those platforms, and then each company has their own time. You might get it back as soon as the company signs off and says there's no damages, or they could keep your deposit up to a week to wait and see to make sure that there are no damages to the RV. The next question is about money as well, and how much is the insurance and what does it cover? You will have an added insurance cost on top of renting your RV, and sometimes that can be anywhere from $5 to $50. That's a huge range. It's generally $15 to $30 a day, but it could be outside of that. That could be added onto your daily rental fee. So that will make a difference in the cost that you have to pay. And you'll also want to know, what does it cover? Outdoorsy that we rent ours on, for example, has 3 levels of insurance that you can buy along with your RV rental. They cleverly name them Peace of Mind, Essential, and Risk Taker. Those are the different levels. Each company probably will have different levels. Some companies might have a standard, and then, of course, if you're out and the RV is damaged, who repairs it? What is the deductible for the insurance? Who repairs the damages? If you're renting, especially on a peer-to-peer network, our travel trailer is lived in. It is our family vacation, as well as renting it out. So on ours is older, it's a 2012, and people have said they actually like that. There are scuffs and dirt and some things, small things, are broken. So I walk through and I note that before somebody takes it out. If I were on the renting end, I would you should make sure you do the same. And here's an idea. Walk around and take pictures of the damage or video the entire outside and the entire inside of your RV when you rent it, so you have documentation of all of any damages that had occurred prior. So the condition when you left. I do that, and I am happy for the renters to do that as well, so that we don't have any misunderstandings about that. Now, when you're driving, you'll want to know what mileage is included and what are the overcharges. In a motorhome, it actually has an odometer on there, and you'll know. On a travel trailer, we have a mileage limit as well, just for the wear and tear on all the moving mechanical parts. And the standard is 100 miles a day free. Some people may say 0, some people may say more. The overage charges can vary anywhere from 20 cents a mile to $2 a mile. It's usually in the 30 to 50 cent range, but you'll want to know, if you go over that, how much will it cost you? So the next question, if you want to bring a dog, is, can I bring my pet along, and what are the pet policies? On peer-to-peer places, every owner has their own policies they could set, and every company has their own policies. There could be added fees per day or extra costs for cleaning or more, or there could be restrictions on size and breed. So make sure that if you're planning on bringing your dog along, which is one of the best things about RVing, right? You don't have to leave your dog at home. Make sure that you ask all those questions. Another thing about the motorhome or that you're taking is how many passengers are allowed. In a motorhome, this is a critical question, because if you're taking family members, you need to know how many seats and how many seat belts there are for each of the people. In smaller motorhomes, you only may get 2 to 3 passengers. If you're renting a travel trailer, of course, everybody will be seated in your own truck while you tow it. Also, you should know about the expectations about the cleaning fees and what is covered. Many people, our first rental that we got from the company in Canada, expected the RV to be returned clean, even though there was a cleaning fee. And you say, well, what's the difference? We were required to bring it back as clean as it left, but they needed to sanitize, do all the laundering and all that in order for it to go back out. So they actually would have charged us if it came back dirty. The cleaning fee was not something, not a free ticket to leave it dirty. We do the same thing. We charge a basic cleaning fee, and we expect the renters to bring back the unit clean, and then it just takes a little time to sanitize, dust everything off, and do all the laundry so that it can go back out clean and sanitary for the next people. The cleaning fees in general will range to $25 to $100. Sometimes people may say they take it out of your damage deposit. Just make sure that you look for that. Along with the cleaning, you're going to want to know about the sewer. Are you responsible for dumping and flushing the holding tanks? You don't want to deal with that when you bring it back. Some companies and owners will allow you to pay a fee up front, and they'll deal with the flushing of the tanks when you get back. But if it is a requirement of the rental and you bring back dirty, full gray and black water holding tanks, then the money will be from your deposit. So you want to. Next up is, are there fees for the generator? You will need a generator to power your devices when you're not hooked up to shore power at the campground. And so you will have a generator on board, or you will know if you don't, but you need to know about the fees. When we rented a motorhome, sometimes just using it the first day will kick in a daily fee. Otherwise, there may be some 3 hours or some number of hours that are free up front, and then after that you pay for the hourly usage. Along the lines of power supply, you will want to know information about the power supply for your RV. RVs generally run on 2 different systems. There's an AC system when you're plugged in to the power at the campground, and there's a DC system that runs off the battery in your RV. The DC system basically just powers lights and a couple other things. The fans, not much power can actually come from your battery, but the AC system is what powers everything else, all the wonderful appliances, the air conditioner, the microwave in your RV, and depending on the size, you will have a different power supply. Smaller pop-ups, mini trailers can run on a 15 amp. Larger trailers run on either a 30 or a 50 amp. Ours runs on a 30 amp. Large motorhomes, large fifth wheels run on 50 amps. You need to know this in order to reserve campsites, because some have both 30 amp and 50 amp and some have only one or the other. You ask, how do I learn to fully operate the RV? When you pick up your rental, surprisingly, it will take an hour or more to actually just learn to operate all the systems on the rig, get everything hooked up, and get you out the door. But along with that, sometimes you may be rolling along and forget how to operate the jacks or the slides or different things, and you could actually even damage things. So sometimes, a lot of times now, people have videos that you can watch ahead of time or afterwards, or have a booklet to show you how to operate. We show everybody up front when they first come, and then we hand them a booklet with pictures and instructions how to operate each one of the individual systems in our travel trailer. You're going to want to know that if there's something to refer to along the way. We also answer questions and phone calls if people are in range. The next question is more about the size and shape of the RV. You're going to want to know how long and wide is the RV. This is important because camp spots are actually designated by the length of the trailer or the RV, and in many places such as national parks, they may have a shorter limit, 25 to 30 feet. Ours is 35 feet. If you have a travel trailer like ours, you have to include the trailer and the hitch and your truck. And I actually happen to know that we are 59.5 feet long from the bumper of our trailer to the front bumper of our truck, because we have taken it on a ferry where they measured the whole thing. You will only mostly need to know how long the trailer or the motorhome or RV is for a camping spot. You also need to know how wide it is. The average width is 8.5 feet. Some can be more narrow, like 6 to 7 feet, but nothing is wider than 8.5 feet. This helps when you're reserving a tight camp spot. Now, another thing about the outside and the inside, RVs have slide outs, a room that actually moves in and out, and to make the area much larger. Let's see if you can see ours. What I'm sitting on is our dining room table, and behind me is a couch. This whole section slides out. You need to know how wide is the slide and how many. We have two. We have one here and one in the bunker. The whole thing opens up when we get to a camp spot. It's important to know how many slides, what side they are on. Ours are only on the driver's side. Some people have slides that slide out from both sides, and then the inside gets really huge. You'll need to know because when you're reserving a camp spot, they'll actually ask you. And even when you're not at a campsite or anywhere you are, the person will have to know how much room to give when parking and opening it back up, because you might run into a tree or something on that side. We had somebody who wasn't expecting it and then realized. So you also want to know what additional items are included in the rental. One of the best things, of course, about RVing is that all the comfort's at home. And when you rent an RV, it'll generally be stocked with some of your basic needs, similar to an Airbnb. But some companies, like the first that we rented from, did not supply the linens and the cookware. That was an actual separate added-on charge, and they called them kits. I don't remember what the name of the kit was. They had some. For our rentals, we just include that in the total price, and a lot of the places on the peer-to-peer networks like Outdoorsy and RV Share are private owners, and they're more likely to have everything you need. And also, Specifically, you could ask about cooking supplies, about pots and pans and can openers, and if you love your morning coffee, you'll want to have a coffee maker. So let's talk about when you actually are going to go pick up your trailer. You want to know the pickup and drop-off times. Renting a travel trailer is more like a hotel room or something like that, where you pay by the night and you have a check-in time. And it's unlike when you pick up a car rental. The clock starts when you reserve it at 9 o'clock in the morning. You send it back next 9 o'clock in the morning. When you're renting from a company or a private owner, you should treat your pickup and drop-off times like appointments that you don't want to be late for. We allow people to be more flexible, and we have a pickup time of 2 in the afternoon and a drop-off at 9 in the morning. If people request, most of the times people actually have a late charge that they can add on. You can arrange ahead of time and add on a small fee to pick up early or late. So that's the questions that I can come up with. If you have more questions, you can ask me in the comments and I can reply. I've heard so many different questions people ask me. When somebody contacts me, I have a list of questions for them if they're able to tow our travel trailer, if they've had experience. I have a whole list of questions for people when they contact me, because I know what they overlook. And then also renters have a whole list of questions for me. So I actually know both sides of it, and I'm giving you the best information that I can. I will, let's take you around a little bit here, and I'm just going to show you what it would be like in here. It's kind of hard in an RV. This is, like I said, this is a 35-foot travel trailer, a Jayco that we rent, and you can see there's our kitchen, there's the dining room, and we have a couch. Behind me is the bunk room, and like I said, there are 3 bunks in there, and those all have linens and are ready to go. This is our kitchen. Everything's here. We have a stove top, an oven. We supply all of the dishes and pots and pans for cooking. As part of the series on renting an RV for your family vacation, I've been getting so much, I have so much experience. I've been getting tons and tons of questions helping people plan their RV vacation so that it'll just be an awesome time and you won't have too many costs and hiccups and problems that you'll just go really smoothly. Ask me things in the comments, and also don't forget to subscribe, because this is part of an entire series. You'll be updated as I put more information in and help you plan your trip. So you can also find information on our blog at Family Travel Fever. If you look for all of the series on renting an RV, you'll get as much information as you need, including some discounts and coupons.